Video. City.
Paris. Paris in the spring. There are lots of beautiful reasons to come to the City of Light. But for the best reason of all, look up. The Paris International Salon of Aeronautics and Aerospace is the world's ultimate air show. Every other year, its acres of exhibit space lure the most important people and companies in the industry. It's the place to come to sell your newest. It's the place to come to buy. Here you'll see everything from the world's newest private sport jet to the world's newest strategic bomber. You'll see the newest corporate transportation systems in the air and the newest in space station technology. You'll see the newest in airfield defense systems and the newest in jet trainers. You'll see the newest in cruise missiles. You'll see the newest in light attack aircraft and the newest in high-performance interceptors and the newest in, well, just about everything. So let's start our tour at the General Pavilions, Paris Air Show, 87. security at the Paris Air Show is among the most impressive in the world, but it was especially evident for President Mitterrand's arrival to open the 37th Salon. Civilian and military security operatives, both uniformed and plain clothes, were to be found everywhere. All heavily armed, many with automatic weapons, their presence was a constant reassurance that the air show would proceed without incident. After greeting officials and dignitaries, President Mitterrand toured the Airbus 320 and then inspected one of the most talked about new aircraft at the show, the Rafale Air Superiority Fighter. Then Mitterrand returned to the Chalet of Presidents to officially open the air show. And when the ceremonies ended, the color guard left the field. It was time for the air show to begin. Paris, 87. Airbus Industries has emerged as a major force in the manufacture of economical, wide-body, short and medium-haul airliners. The Model 320 will soon be coming online in the single-aisle 160-seat class, offering solid comfort and great fuel specifics. But from the pilot's point of view, the big advantage is the 320's totally integrated fly-by-wire system. Let's go aboard the A320 fly-by-wire test aircraft and meet Airbus test pilot Gordon Corr as he demonstrates the system for World Aviation video viewers.
Charlie,
looks good and is good.
Yep. 100 knots. Rotate. V2. Positive rate. Gear up, please. This is the beginning of what would be a classic stall maneuver. I have the airplane at the reference speed and with power for a conventional approach. And now as far as the fly-by-wire is concerned, I simply pull full up elevator and maintain it, and the system completely looks after the airplane on its own. There we are with 28 degrees of pitch attitude, speed reducing to about 90 knots at the moment. The angle of attack is stabilizing at 17 degrees. That's the stall warning which is cut in there for the moment, and the airplane is now stable. We've got a steady 18 degrees of alpha and 24 pitch attitude. So I point out again, we have a stable altitude, stable pitch attitude, speed is 94 knots, and the alpha maintained by the system. This is what the system is working on. You may see it moving very slightly. It's moving between about 17 and 17.5 degrees as the system takes care of the little bits of turbulence that we have here. So we make the same maneuver again, this time so that you can see the lack of work as far as the pilot is concerned. I'm simply pulling the nose up gently. We're coming towards the high alpha range. The thrust is going on automatically. I simply hold full up elevator on the controls, and the system does all the work for me. The noise that you may hear in the background is the conventional A300 stall warning. If I now release the stick, hands off, now the airplane recovers without any assistance. So this time we'll make the other maneuver that we will show you, where we make an apparent approach towards the middle of the airfield, and then pull the airplane up to maximum alpha. And when it's stable at maximum alpha, we'll roll to 20 to 30 degrees of bank and make a spiral climb. So here we go, we're pulling up towards maximum alpha now. The auto throttle system on. The alpha floor is working. We'll just let the airplane stabilize for a second or so, and now we'll turn. So we have a continuous turn now, 25 degrees of bank, and stable at the maximum alpha. Simply all the pilot has to do is to maintain, I'm maintaining in fact full left aileron and full up elevator, and the system is containing the flight path within safe limits automatically. At the same time, pitch attitude reduces a little bit, of course, in the turn in order to maintain the alpha reasonably constant. Speed is increasing slightly now. We're back to our typical 94 knots, and I've got a bank angle of about 18 degrees steady. And now the system is completely stable. It'll go on doing that as long as I like.
Airbus says the A320 fly-by-wire system gives greater maneuverability at the limit than has ever been possible in a transport category aircraft, especially, for example, in wind shear conditions, which still cause accidents to conventional aircraft. They say that only Airbus Industries can demonstrate this capability here and now. This system is at the heart of the low-altitude flight demo you will now see at the Paris Air Show 87. Paris Air Show 87. We're aboard a Boeing 707. This is an airplane that's just about disappeared from North America's skies. This one's called a Super Q, and that stands for Super Quiet. And this is Mr. Jaffe with the Super Q Company, and tell us about this airplane, Mr. Jaffe.
Yeah, this airplane was developed by Comtran Limited, the partnership that developed the quiet nacelles for the 707 to make them noise compliant so that they would be able to fly under Stage 2 FARs so that they could access the U.S. market. This airplane is the first one that has come off of our line, and it is fully certified. We've certified a new cockpit for the airplane. We've updated and upgraded all the radios, the avionics, long-range navs. As a Super Q, the interior of this airplane is almost identical in size to the 757 Boeing. The tube of a 707 and 75 are almost the same in size.
What is the passenger count then?
The passenger count, depending on how you want to operate the airplane, this particular one is configured 21st class 146 coach. However, you can go up to a high density interior and go all the way to 212. Let's just say that you put this airplane Kansas City, Hawaii, and you develop a route with 150-60 passengers average loading a day. You name an aircraft that you could put in to compete with it. The 767ER can't cross the Pacific, and if you move into a wide DC-10 or 747, they're too big for the market. A replacement aircraft for this, being the 67ER, would be about $65 million, and by the time you add spares, I'm not sure what they would be.
All right, cost. What's it going to cost an operator to get a Super Q?
This airplane, D-checked with considerable time on the engines, I'm talking 20 to 25,000 hours remaining across the wing, is going to be somewhere in the 9 to 10 million range. Now, that's a fully renovated airplane, new avionics package all the way back through the cabin, cargo holes, everything. The airplane will, in appearance, be as new.
Have you got anybody hot on the line to put this aircraft back into domestic service?
Well, since this airplane was just certified, we're just now getting into a position where we can show the airplane, the Paris Air Show being the premiere of the airplane.
How's the interest?
Extremely high.
Thanks again, Mr. Jaffe. There you have it. Once again, the Boeing 707 in the form of the Super Q may be flying the skies of North America again, transporting passengers safely, securely, and economically. Thank you.
Terrific. Thank you.
Okay, Ryan, San Diego, California, États-Unis. Taking off now the Spirit of St. Louis, built by Ryan, San Diego, California, USA. Atterrissage des Spirit of St. Louis. The Spirit of St. Louis is landing now.
Paris Air Show 87. We're at the General Dynamics Chalet with Dave Wheaton from General Dynamics, and we're here to give Dave an opportunity to respond to the rather pointed remarks that Serge Dassault made in his press conference yesterday about the overall superiority of the Mirage series of aircraft, specifically the Mirage 2000 when compared against the F-16. Dave, some of the things that Serge covered, some of the things that he claimed, was that the Mirage 2000 had a lot more stealth capability than the F-16 or the F-18. What about it?
Well, Bob, first let me say I'm a little bit disappointed that Dassault would invite us here to Paris and act as host and take on the airplane on a frontal comparison like that. But as you well know, General Dynamics has been working in the area of low radar cross-section for quite some time. It's an area that we really can't discuss in any detail. From a technical viewpoint, I think there's no question that the United States and our understanding of that technology is as good as or better than anybody else in the world. So I would expect that our airplanes would be at least as good or better in that area.
Now, Serge also commented on the fact that the Mirage 2000 can find the F-16 long before the F-16 can find it, and that being the case, that the Sidewinder would be hard-pressed to match the Super 530.
If we were only equipped with the Sidewinder, we'd be at somewhat of a disadvantage, but as you may be familiar, starting back in 1981, we developed the capability on the F-16 to handle either the Sparrow missile or the AMRAAM missile, which is in development. In fact, the F-16 has been the primary test bed for that. So I don't see that we have any problem there.
Well, what about sales? Serge Dassault claimed that we weren't doing too well in that regard.
We have a very large requirement of the United States Air Force, and his indication was that we were equal in sales in 1986 or the last 15 months. The fact of the matter is, in 86, we signed a 4-year multi-year contract with the United States Air Force for 720 airplanes, which I think is more by a factor of 2 than Dassault has sold on the Mirage 2000 worldwide. We basically find in the countries that we deal with, if given a choice, that they'll take either the F-18 or the F-16 over the Mirage in most areas.
Comment on the C model, and where are we on upgrades on that?
We've had a what we call a multinational stage improvement program going on the F-16 program since 1979, and it has evolved over the years with a continuing evolution in capability on the airplane. We are now, as you indicated, developing various versions of the C model, both for domestic as well as foreign militaries, and they're operational in 3 different air forces at this time. The C model has all the kinds of things that Dassault says that they're developing for the Mirage 2000 today. We have a capability for anti-ship with the Penguin missile that's been developed up in Norway. We have anti-radiation missile development for the U.S. Air Force. In fact, the airplane that we're flying here at Paris goes over to Germany with the U.S. Air Force there and will be a part of the Hunter Killer Group with anti-radiation missiles when it gets there. So it's an operational combat available airplane.
Thank you. Dave Wheaton, Paris 87.
Thank you.
As we have already seen, the general pavilions contain exhibits from every country, except one, Russia. Next stop, the USSR Pavilion. There we'll see the best technology the Soviet industrial giant has to offer, including their truly huge and impressive Mir space station. But first, we will see a beautiful collection of models of Aeroflot aircraft. A few are obviously Soviet design. But note how many aircraft you'll think you've seen someplace else before.
Есть в росине цветок незабудка, голубой, как весенний рассвет. Я тебе в это ясное утро соберу незабудок букет. При свидании, при прощании, отправляясь в дальний край, незабудку вспоминай. По тропинкам неслышно шагая, незабудки к нам в город пришли. В голубых лепестках сохраняя красоту нашей русской земли. При прощании, отправляясь в дальний край, незабудку вспоминай. Есть, правда, синий цветок незабудка, светлых песней лесов и полей. Я тебя в это ясное утро назову незабудкой моей. При прощании, отправляя в дальний край, незабудку вспоминать, незабудку
The Russians' 405-ton AN-124 dominated the ramp at Paris. The aircraft had set its most recent record just last month, reportedly flying a 12,521-mile route non-stop around the Soviet Union. In July '85, the aircraft set a record for load of 171.2 tons while climbing to 29,000 feet. The only operating incident at this year's show occurred when the Russian AN-74 spun the rubber off its left mains. Watch for this on landing. As the Russians didn't want to talk about the incident, we don't know if their brakes were locked on touchdown or if their anti-skid failed. Now, the Russians fly at Paris 87. Footprint and vibration-free cabin environment. SNACMA of France is GE's partner on development of the engine. The concept engine has now been mated to the MD-80 airframe and has demonstrated cruise speeds of 0.84 Mach at flight level 350. When installed in the next generation aircraft in the 110 to 160 seat class, fuel savings of up to 70% would be expected over today's aircraft, and up to 30% fuel savings over the newest conventional turbofans. Now let's listen to a test of the sound footprint for the UDF during a low-level pass at cruise power. The conventional jet engines are at idle. As soon as SMACMA completes the second proof of concept engine, two-engine UDF tests will begin at Edwards Proving Ground using the MD-80 airframe. The production engine is now under development. GE's UDF does look to be the engine of tomorrow. Paris 87.
commandé pour le corps des marines américains, un Royal Air Force, marine espagnole. Carry altitude 31,100 pounds. Cabin accommodation, 100 passengers. 9-1 order on all vessels of the British Aerospace. International Transport Aircraft built by British Aerospace Great Britain. All transport aircraft built by Fokker Netherlands. This aircraft flew for the first time in December 1985. September 1983, Superstis aircraft ready. Brazilian Air Force Order 180 to Cairo, September 1983, Superstis aircraft were delivered.
The United States also had a separate pavilion. However, when the general public visited there, they were a little surprised to find that they could only see a short NASA film program. And then a U.S. Air Force exhibit. Because like the individual company chalets, most of the USA Exhibition Hall was restricted to the industry and the press. Let's take a look now inside the USA Exhibition. Space, the final frontier. One of our next objectives must be a permanent presence in space. Now let's take a closer look at the U.S. Space Station program. Prime contractor, Rockwell International.
We've grown used to wonders in this century. It's hard to dazzle us. But for 25 years, the United States space program has been doing just that. We'll continue our quest in space. There will be more shuttle flights and more shuttle crews.
Upon resumption of shuttle flights, an exciting lineup of missions is scheduled. And in the 1990s, orbiter crews will assemble and service the manned space station. Space Station is America's next major step to continued leadership in space by establishing a permanent United States presence by the mid-1990s. The first phase of the permanently manned facility, orbiting some 200 nautical miles above the Earth, will accommodate a crew of 8 and will have capability for scientific activities, including microgravity and life sciences, enabling future growth for Earth orbit capabilities and missions to outer space, and will accommodate international involvement. Elements will consist of United States laboratory and habitability modules, 4 resource nodes and 2 cupolas, U.S. polar orbiting platform and experiment provisions outside of the pressurized modules. Space Shuttle will be instrumental in station assembly and operation, transporting crews, structures, and supplies to and from the orbiting station. Robotic systems will assist crews with routine tasks. In addition to automated operations, there will be extravehicular activity by the crew, initially to assemble the station elements. Under contract to NASA, Rockwell's Space Station Systems Division is leading an industry team in space station definition and preliminary design. Phased development of Space Station will evolve from the initial baseline configuration into an enhanced capability configuration, augmenting the areas of satellite servicing, materials processing, and scientific payloads and power. The Space Shuttle Orbiter's reusable main engines have demonstrated high performance and reliability during 5 years of operations. They require minimal maintenance and checkout between flights. The main engines are built at Rocketdyne's Canoga Park, California facility, where Rockwell and NASA are investing over $100 million in new automated machine tools and modernized equipment, providing the most advanced liquid rocket engine production capability in the world. Rocketdyne is working on advanced engines, including a derivative of the Space Shuttle main engine, with thrust levels exceeding 600,000 pounds. The RS-44 for an orbital transfer vehicle, and the versatile XLR-132, a storable high-pressure pump-fed engine designed for Air Force space applications in the 1990s. Rocketdyne is under contract with McDonnell Douglas to provide engines for the Delta II expendable launch vehicles. We also provide main propulsion for Atlas ELVs and are developing expendable shuttle main engine derivatives. Rocketdyne's team is under contract with NASA Lewis to develop the space station's 75-kilowatt solar-generated power system. The current design utilizes both photovoltaic arrays and solar dynamic power generation subsystems. Our expert team has the systems integration knowledge and technology base to provide space power systems for America's space and defense programs. At Rockwell, we're working today to meet the needs of tomorrow, studying advanced launch vehicle concepts that will increase America's space launch capacity, such as heavy lift launch vehicles and second-generation medium launch vehicles, conducting research and development studies for the National Aerospace Plane, an experimental vehicle which will demonstrate hypersonic technology for a variety of possible flight applications, investigating concepts for a reusable space station-based crew emergency return vehicle featuring flight-proven Apollo spacecraft design, and learning more about how to put space to work to improve the human condition on Earth.
property of 900 pounds. Normal use 2,500 pounds, which gives maximum sense of weight of 5,000 pounds and has a maximum speed of 255 knots.
Paris Air Show 87. We're looking at the future of in-flight entertainment. And the company is AirVision, and the president of AirVision is Arnold Stevenson. Arnold, tell us a little bit about what your system's going to offer the public.
This is a multi-channel, six channels actually, an LCD screen. It is 2.4 inches in diameter. It will allow the passenger on each flight to have his choice of viewing. The volume is stereo. It has a brightness control, which makes it comfortable for the viewer to watch the screen. The headsets can be pneumatic or electronic. That's basically the system in a nutshell.
How long are we going to have to wait to see this system in aircraft?
This system will be flying in the United States sometime this summer.
Major U.S. carrier?
Major U.S. carrier.
Thank you, Arnold.
The Israelis' new Super Phantom features two Pratt & Whitney 1120 power plants, which provide a greater than 1-to-1 thrust-to-weight ratio and better fuel specifics than the originals. Combined with airframe mods to enhance strength and maneuverability, the Super Phantom offers significant improvements to an already outstandingly competitive fighter bomber.
Range runway 1,080 nautical miles, say 2,900.
We're here at the Paris Air Show 87 for Europe's first close-up look at the B-1B bomber.
And with us today is Major Steve Fraley, and Steve is the Defensive Systems Officer aboard the B-1B. Hi, Steve.
Hi.
Now, when we flew to Europe, we came over in the mid-30s on altitude. How about you guys?
We came over in the mid-20s.
I'm surprised at that answer. Tell us.
Well, the main thing is that the airplane was built to be a low-altitude penetrating bomber, and it's designed to go in at low altitudes. And when it's just cruising around, it doesn't really need to go very high.
How about speeds? What's economical for you?
Well, the speeds are at high altitude about the same as an airliner. At low altitude, which is where we're really built to penetrate at, is very high subsonic. We can go supersonic, however.
So you could beat the SST from New York to Paris if you did it down low?
If we were at low altitude, that's correct.
How about defensive profiles?
Well, for the the main thing to remember is that our defenses are built to kind of make best use of what the B-1 penetrates at, which is low altitude and high speed. And they all complement each other very well. It's a very synergistic effect.
How about your radar profile at low altitudes?
It's about 1/100th of a B-52.
Almost non-existent.
Oh, getting there.
What's the standard flight crew for the B-1B?
Well, we've got 2 pilots and 2 navigators. The pilot split up duties just like a normal pilot and co-pilot do. And the 2 navigators, one's an offensive systems officer. He does the bombing and navigation. And then there's a defensive systems officer, which is what I do, and I defend the airplane.
Would the crew requirement be different for long-range missions?
Well, it all depends on what the mission is. If it's a mission that's designed to be long endurance, up in the air for, say, a day or so, then they'll probably be having a crew of 5 to 6. There'll be the 4 normal people and then some backup crew members to switch off while one guy sleeps.
How many B-1s are in service now and how many are coming?
Well, there's about 50 in service right now, and there's another 50 that'll be delivered over the next year at a rate about 4 a month.
Is this airplane more comfortable when compared to a B-52?
A lot more. A lot more.
What's the differences?
Well, the big things are it's a lot quieter. You got a lot better temperature control on the airplane. That all makes for more crew comfort, so you're able to endure those long endurance missions.
Is your entertainment system beta or VHS?
We don't have that.
Okay, just thought I'd ask. The B-1 really is a major hit here at the Paris Air Show. Is there any place that you might be able to tell our viewers that they would be able to see the B-1 later on this summer?
Well, there's none that I know of. However, there are going to be some SAC air shows later on in the year, and it might be at one of those.
Steve, is there anything else you'd like to tell our viewers about the B-1B before we go?
Well, the main thing I'd like people to remember is that it's a bomber that can carry an awful lot, very fast, and a low altitude, and it'll do the job. It's a good airplane.
Thank you, Major Steve Fraley.
You're welcome.
two business aircraft generating the most excitement were the Piaggio Avanti, which we've already seen perform, and the Beechcraft Starship. Both aircraft offered canard stability, rear-mounted pusher turboprop power, and sexy good looks. But there are more differences than similarities between the two, primary being construction, the Avanti being largely conventional, and the Starship all-new composite. Now, World Aviation Video brings you an in-depth look at the Beechcraft Starship, Paris 87.
This is the shape of the future. This is Starship, the most modern, efficient business aircraft in the sky. Starship has been the most exciting new concept in general aviation ever since it made its dramatic appearance at Love Field in Dallas at the 1983 NBAA. It is even more true today as the reality of Starship unfolds and people come to recognize the logical beauty of its tandem wing design and the unparalleled efficiency of its all-composite construction. Starship is an airplane as vital and forward-looking as the companies it will serve. It will provide a new standard in corporate transportation that will endure for years to come. At the home of Beech Aircraft Corporation in Wichita, Kansas, 6 full-scale Starships have been completed for use in the certification program. Over 500,000 square feet of manufacturing and engineering space in 2 separate plants are dedicated entirely to Starship. Starship began life here on these computer terminals. Starting with a clean screen, Beech engineers have fashioned an airplane whose form follows function. Every line of Starship, from its forward wing to its rear-mounted propellers, was designed to create the ultimate in business transportation. It is, in a word, logic. The propellers are positioned to assure minimum impact on cabin sound levels. For the same reason, the engines are mounted on the wing rather than the fuselage, and they are kept as close to the center line as possible to minimize the effect of asymmetric thrust in single-engine operation. Its main wing is over 54 feet long. Its length is more than 45 feet, and it is 13 feet to the top of its tip sails. Its cabin is a foot wider, 9 inches taller, and almost 2 feet longer than the Super King Airs. Starship will be capable of speeds in excess of 400 miles per hour. This is made possible by composite construction, which is lighter in weight, yet stronger than traditional aluminum construction. Composites also can be formed smoother and more accurately than aluminum. For the first time, designers will be able to fully exploit the performance possibilities of laminar flow, which can only be achieved with geometrically correct surface contour. Starship will be created in the main layup area, one of the largest clean rooms in the world. After curing and installation of spars and ribs, the lower wing box is fitted with wiring, fuel, hydraulic lines, control cables, and attachments. The lower wing box and upper wing skin panel are thoroughly cleaned, and the upper wing skin is carefully set in place. The whole wing is now returned to the wing box assembly tool, and a locator tool is attached to hold the wing securely during bonding in a specially built 20 by 60 foot oven. Segmented to direct heat to specific areas, the oven's overhead elements are shaped like Starship's wing for the greatest possible efficiency. Starship One is now well into the flight testing program, some of which involves confirmation of its excellent single-engine flight and stability characteristics. Starship One has arrived.
flight was performed by
The Squalus jet we have just been watching is a strong candidate for replacement of older primary and jet transition trainers. For an in-depth look at Squalus, be sure to watch Paris Air Show Volume 2, Weapon Systems and Delivery, coming soon. Mooney has joined with Cicada of France for development and manufacture of the TB700. Carrying 8 in a 4-foot wide pressurized cabin, the new turboprop Mooney should cruise about 300 knots and have a range of 1,150 nautical miles. Cost $955,000. How can a vehicle lift itself off a runway, then have the power to carry both itself and a payload into Earth orbit, and then return for landing? Impossible? Well, British Aerospace says Hotel will be operational by the 90s. Time will tell. Our calculations say that they must have learned how to burn air. The J&B sponsored Lodestar took off, made a pass around the pattern, and then, unknown to most spectators, departed for a successful recreation of Howard Hughes' around-the-world flight. Upon their return, they had broken Hughes' record. Further updates in Volume 2, Paris 87. Now, for the highlight of this year's show, World Aviation Video takes you aboard the hot AMX fighter bomber. We'll bring you an in-depth report on this aircraft in Paris Air Show 87 Volume 2 coming soon. Now, buckle up for takeoff.